There you go. Hello, Nobles. Hello, Shriners. Once again, with Noble Gary Walkenfuss and Nobel Don Larson, here with our 5th episode of Masons to Shriners. And as we all know, our motto stands, no man stands so tall as when he stoops to help a child. That is the Shriner motto forever. And today, with that being said, I have the pleasure of having a podcast with Don Larson. Don is from from Omaha, Nebraska area, and he's going to kind of just go through and talk about some of his personal experiences that he's had. First of all, briefly, tell us a little bit about yourself. And you're retired, but you're not retired. Am I right, Don?
That's correct.
Okay. Well, go ahead and tell a little bit.
Okay. I was born in Nebraska, north of Fremont, and I went to school in Lincoln, in a business school, and basically it was in accounting field. And later on, I did quite a few positions in the accounting field. And then later on, after about 20 years of doing that, I switched over to retail. And I managed retail jewelry stores for most of the majors in Wichita, Kansas, and in the Omaha area here in Nebraska.
Awesome.
And I'm right now retired, and I'm driving cars for Enterprise, rental car.
Now, one other thing, Don, you do is you write for the Hot Sands. Is that correct?
Yes, I do write an article for the Hot Sands. It's on the Arbor Shrine, and I do try to get a monthly publication in to the Hot Sands.
Perfect. Well, can you kind of tell us briefly who or what you became a Shriner? Was there somebody local, somebody that's passed away, somebody? Can you tell me a little bit about who influenced you to become a Shriner?
Well, at one time I owned my own business in Wichita, Kansas, which was a manufacturing plant of innersprings, mattresses, and a furniture line. And one of my suppliers down there, my son at that time when we were living in Wichita, was probably about 7 years old. And he mentioned that he wanted to sponsor my son to the Shriners Hospital in St. Louis. My son had been born with spina bifida in North Dakota, and he had a deformity of being able to have feeling and be able to walk, and they wanted to sponsor him to this hospital in St. Louis to do an evaluation to see if there was anything that could be done to help him be able to walk and become a little more independent. So at that time, I mostly associated Shriners with the burn hospitals, didn't really realize that they did a lot in birth defects. So in that, I had some acquaintances that were Shriners, and I asked them one night what the Shrine was about, and we sat down and talked about it. And I've been a Shriner ever since, and that was probably back in the 70s is when I was doing that, and when I become a Mason and a Shriner. Perfect.
Can you kind of tell a little bit more how the Shriners assisted you in your personal life, especially with your son? And what was his name again?
His name was Christopher Larson.
Okay. And can you tell me how the Shriners assisted him throughout his lifetime?
Well, through their evaluation, he was very fortunate to be able to have feeling from his waist all the way down to his top of his ankles. But when he walked on the side of his feet. And the Shriners in the St. Louis was able to fuse his ankles to where they would move up and down, but they would not move sideways. So he was able to then be able to have a lot better weight in order to be able to become independent. And he went on to be able to walk with his crutches and brace, and he was able to drive his own car. He actually even bowled 3 nights a week when we lived here in Bellevue.
Awesome. Can you tell me about this picture right here?
Picture there is when he was first starting to walk, and that's his therapist that was working with him to walk up and down the hallways. And he wanted to swing through with his crutches instead of to take steps with his crutches. And that's what they were working on at that point.
Awesome. And in your tenure as a Shriner, you said you've been with the Shriners over 20, 30 years. How do you see the Arbor Shrine assisting our counties, Cass County, Otoe County, even the great state of Nebraska?
Well, the one thing about Arbor Shrine is we do have fundraisers, and with the fundraisers that we have in, Arbor Shrine has been very fortunate to be able to help support the Shriners hospitals and to be able to help other children. And by doing that, I think that it has a big influence on what the Shriners can do for people. And one thing you have to understand is that you don't have to be a Shriner in order to have your child to have the benefit of the Shriners hospitals. All you have to do is find a Shriner to sponsor that child.
When you talk about Shriner Hospital, you've been to the Shriner Hospital. Can you kind of tell the experience that you've had there with you and your family and so on, please?
Well, I would think, excuse me, but one of the biggest influences we had was we thought we really had it bad. And we went to the Shriners Hospital in St. Louis with Chris. And then we'd seen patients that were walking in that were on a pillow that the parents were carrying, that they had a brittle disease to where they couldn't even hardly touch their child. And we found out how fortunate we were with the disability we had with our child. And it's amazing what these medical staff can actually do. And of course, they do all of this at no cost to the family.
Well, I tell you, you talk about heartwarming and great experiences, Don. I really appreciate how you have brought this to our Shriner and our podcast. And you and your wife and your family, I know you are strong supporters of the Shriners. If there's a family out there that wants to contact a Shriner, can you kind of briefly tell how that happens?
Well, it's very easy. You can contact any of the shrine temples in your local area or go to a Blue Lodge. The Blue Lodges are the ones that have the symbol of the square and the cross in the center of it. And all you have to do is talk to any of the nobles, anybody that's a Mason or a Shriner, and they could very easily get you into the program.
Well, I tell you what, Don, it's really been a pleasure listening to you today, and I know our viewers will be having a number of comments regarding that. Thank you so much for expressing the heartfelt information you had regarding your son and how you can become help the people of any county, any part of actually the United States. Is there anything else, last words, anything like that you want to leave with the viewers, Don?
Well, the only thing is, you mentioned the United States, but the Shriners have now gone worldwide. We have shrines in all different countries. So it's a very wide program.
Thank you very much, Don. Appreciate all you have done. Thank you. Have a great day.